I don't think the system works.
How would you have it work?
We need a system where the politicians sit down and discuss the problem, agree what's in the best interest of all the people, and then do it.
That's exactly what we do. The trouble is that people don't always agree.
Well, then they should be made to.
By whom? Who's gonna make them?
I don't know. Someone.
You?
Of course not me.
But someone.
Someone wise.
Sounds an awful lot like a dictatorship to me.
Well, if it works.
This is a very interesting Star Wars scene. And as corny as it was, and how many people disliked Episode 2, I remember seeing this in theaters when I was really young. But I like the scene in particular because it really gets across the message of paternalism, or that a working government outside of modernist terms like democracy, individualism, egalitarianism, universalism. Obviously, the joke is that Anakin will be Darth Vader, and he's going to create a corrupt dictatorship in the future, and there lies the foreshadowing joke. But let's say, for example, that this wasn't a Star Wars joke, and it's not about Darth Vader being evil and cruel, and they're rather talking honestly about the future of the system. And so, of course, Anakin agrees that there should be a parliament discussing how people should discuss together through diplomacy. But in a way, he brings up the notion of a paternalism, that things should force, like kind of a Borg or some godlike figure. And another translation is that a man and woman is talking, and the woman, not the man, the woman brings up the concept of dictatorship, because women are often insecure about male leaders, and that often women are biologically dependent and based on mimicry, things like that. And so you have to ask, what's so bad about a quote-unquote dictatorship? Certainly communism and fascism, and even some forms of Americanism have that level of dictatorship, quote-unquote, to it. Often we'll need a guardian power of sorts, from Socrates to Alcibiades, or the sensei to its student. And again, there's just something corrupt on a level where they're trying to incite fear into the audience, saying, can you imagine a society without democracy, liberalism, individualism, universalism? My God, what kind of backward society of a single person ruling over the free will of people who all they want is just free market capitalism? And of course, we already know that Star Wars is a biased franchise, because most of the message is what? A resistance against an evil, totalitarian, amoral system, right? And so, again, if you want to use in crass terms, this scene in Star Wars Episode 2 is a quote-unquote red pill moment. This is because the audience now realizes, and even in 2021, decades later after the original film, is that what's so wrong? What's so bad about a dictatorship? We actually need paternalism. We don't need neoliberal capitalism in our system, because neoliberal capitalism is the very same system that denies the notion that there's difference between male and female, that there's such a thing called race, that we don't really own the means of production, and that human beings are violent creatures and need to control their violence, right? And so ultimately, we are now sympathizing with Anakin because we do want a dictatorship. We do want a paternal system that will ultimately go against what haunts us the most and what is democracy, quote unquote. Neoliberal capitalism being that manifestation of democracy.